I was standing right there when she told her friends I was useless. Not in the middle of an argument, not behind closed doors, at her sister's birthday party. In full view of everyone, she laughed as she said it like it was some worn-out inside. Joke the whole room was in on. She called me deaf and dumb in more ways than one. And they laughed. Even her mother chuckled. I stood there with a drink in my hand, smiling at nothing, staring at the birthday cake like it somehow meant something, pretending I hadn't caught the shift in her tone or the sideways glance she threw, just to make sure I looked as clueless as she wanted me to seem. I've lived most of my adult life half listening to the world. It wasn't always that way. I used to hear perfectly fine, but then came the silence. It crept in slowly, quietly, until one day it never left. Doctor visits, treatments, then the long, slow journey toward acceptance. I worked in a machine shop, a world of grinding metal and deafening noise, heavy tools and unrelenting sound. I guess you could say I traded my hearing for a paycheck for school fees, for food on their plates, for heat in winter. I never complained. What was the use? A man's job is to provide, even if it costs him pieces of himself. When my hearing finally vanished altogether, it wasn't loud or dramatic. It was a quiet kind of disappearance, like a part of me just stopped showing up one day. I learned how to read lips, how to watch people's eyes and catch meaning from their expressions. I learned to fill in the blanks when words became foggy shapes in the air. I used to think love didn't need sound. I was wrong. At first, she was kind. She wrote notes, gently touched my arm before she spoke. The kids tried, too, in those early days, but life isn't built to be patient. Days blur into months, and you begin to fade. Not because you stop loving them, but because they stop needing you. They began to talk around me, not to me. Then eventually, about me like I wasn't even there. I became a fixture, like an old piece of furniture, worn out, reliable, and unnoticed. It was the little things that cut deepest. The way she sighed whenever I asked her to repeat herself. The way she'd talk over me like my voice had no gravity. My son stopped asking for help with schoolwork. My daughter stopped sharing her day with me. I sat at the dinner table watching conversations speed past me like trains I couldn't catch. Their laughter was a room I could never enter. I caught them mocking me once. My son and his friends. He mimicked me, fumbled his hands, squinted his eyes, made crude hand gestures like he was playing a caricature. They laughed so hard they couldn't breathe. I just stood there, silent, invisible. She saw it, too, my wife, and she did nothing. That's the moment I stopped trying. I still went to work. I paid the bills, kept the fridge full and the lights on. But I stopped being present in the way they wanted, or maybe in the way I once longed to be. I'm not even sure which came first, their distance or mine. And then, one day, I heard again. Not completely, not suddenly, but enough. A surgery, a device, an implant, a miracle. Some people called it, but I didn't tell them. I don't know why exactly. Maybe I wanted to see who they were when they thought I was still deaf. Maybe I was scared to hear what they really thought of me. Mostly, I needed to know if love still lived in that house, or if it had long since withered into a quiet obligation. So, I waited. I listened. She told her friends I was a burden, said I was half a man, that she stayed out of pity and convenience. Her friends nodded in agreement, called me pathetic, said she deserved more, better, something whole, not some broken husband with broken ears. Her brother made jokes, said I was her charity case. Her mother warned her to prepare for the day I'd die like I was some decrepit pet on borrowed time. Even my son, the one I'd given everything for, said he wished he had a father who could guide him, someone real, not a ghost who just sat on the couch staring blankly at the wall. Each word struck like a nail, and I counted every one. But I didn't scream, didn't cry, didn't confront. I just adjusted. I had savings they didn't know about, years of labor, in silence, tucked away in an account with only my name on it. I'd learned early that a man should always keep a small part of himself just in case. I started moving money, quietly, sold things, liquidated. The house they didn't know was in my name. A gift from my father. I mortgaged it, pulled equity, reinvested, doubled, then tripled my funds. I didn't need anyone's advice. You learn a lot by watching people who think you're not really there. I wrote a will, not for them, but for myself, drafted every line carefully, structured it tight. Not a cent to them. Everything went into a trust for my granddaughter, the only soul in that house who still saw me, still touched my hand, still whispered secrets like I was the most important person in her little world. She was 5. She was innocent. Then one morning, before the sun had even peeked over the horizon, I packed a single bag, left the house key on the table, and walked out. No note, no explanation, just silence for silence. They tried to reach me. Of course, when the bills arrived, when the mortgage came due, when the electricity got cut off, when the car disappeared, that's when the voicemails came. Her voice, at first soft with concern, then sharp with frustration. Then came the threats. My son messaged like I was a stranger. My daughter didn't reach out at all. Eventually, they stopped, but I still heard from my granddaughter. Her mother called one day, trying to play sweet, asking if I'd like to see her. I said yes, but only her. I made that clear. She visits sometimes. We sit in the park. She talks. I listen truly, fully. She tells me about school, the stories she writes, the pictures she draws, says I'm her favorite person in the world, and I believe her. As for the rest of them, I don't owe them anything. Not a word, not a reason. They built a world that didn't need me, and I let them keep it. Funny thing about hearing, it's not the sound you miss, it's the truth. And once you've heard it, you can't unhear it. That's my silence now. That's my revenge. And it's enough.